Hey guys, it's Britt, and today I want to talk about. It's Thursday, so that means I get to talk about Game of Thrones. And I want to talk about something that not, at least I haven't heard a lot of people discuss or really think about, and that is Jon's true parentage and how it is going to affect Jon in the long run. Yes, as viewers, it's exciting for us to know who Jon's true parents are, and the fact that it is not Ned who is his father, but Rhaegar Targaryen. And while we're all glad that we know that R plus L does equal J, I don't think Jon is going to see it that way. You have to think about how Jon would feel. And I think about these characters a lot. And I think that Jon's not going to be very thrilled about this because his entire identity has been surrounded by his want, his need to prove himself to be a Stark. And while yes, he is Stark because of Lyanna, the last name is the more important name because that's the definition of who he is, who he is going to become. And he's always had this bastard identity. He's always been known as Snow. And he's always done his best to emulate Ned, who he believes wholeheartedly is his father. And that he's never had any reason to doubt that Ned isn't his father. And so when he finds out that Rhaegar is his father, I think it's gonna mess him up a little bit. Why? Because he's always tried to emulate Ned. And suddenly, that whole thing is pulled away from him. I think he's going to feel a little bit lost if he does find out. I know this is a really, really unpopular opinion, and while I would love for Jon to find out who his mother is, because that's all he's ever really, really wanted in this life, besides to, be acknowledged as a Stark, because he believes firmly in his heart that the Starks are a good family, and he's always wanted to be a Stark. He's always said, I'm not a Stark. And the weight of those words are really going to hit him once he discovers the truth. And he's going to say, he spent his whole life saying, I'm not a Stark. And he wishes that he could be. And while, yeah, he is half Stark, like I said, the last name is the important name, unless he decides to not to embrace his Targaryen heritage, which would be completely understandable. The Targaryens are not the not the most noble of houses, and it would really interfere with his identity as a whole, because he's always believed that while he may not have the surname Stark, He's always held on to the Stark ideals. And yeah, even if he is Targaryen, he can still uphold those ideals. But it wouldn't be the same. And Jon, ever since Jon died, there's a little piece of Jon that is missing. It's different, and if you hear the phone ringing, I apologize. But I don't think this is a good thing for Jon mentally. I think it's going to give him a bit of an identity crisis. It's like it's like adopting a child and never saying or mentioning that that child is adopted until they have reached adulthood. And then once that child has reached adulthood, they've gone their whole lives thinking that they were a part of this family. And while they're technically a part of the family and everybody loves them and treats them as such, and they won't treat this child any differently, um, if that had been my position, I would be pretty bothered by that, because I think it's pretty disrespectful to do that to a human being. And while I understand that Ned had no other choice, Robert would have killed him, he kept Jon's identity from everybody for the longest time, and it probably tore him up a lot inside to never tell Jon the truth. The truth will be a hard pill for Jon to swallow, in my opinion, because of this emulation and admiration of Ned, and suddenly his father is no longer Ned. Well, he could still think of Ned as a father, but his birth father is not the man that he so admired, the man that he so loved. And even after his death, emulates. And I don't know, guys, I don't think it's a good thing for Jon, and I just hope he takes it well. But I don't think he's going to take it well, because at this point, it's pretty inevitable that he is going to discover the secret of his parentage. And I hope that I'm wrong and that he is mentally sound when he finds out, but I don't. Jon has spent his entire life struggling with the fact that he was a bastard. And he may still be a bastard, because we don't know if Rhaegar and Lyanna got secretly married, but still, I think it's unfair to consider that this Stark identity that he has spent his whole life emulating will suddenly be brought into question. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you guys.